The night was too beautiful for what was about to happen. The chandeliers above the Valentini Grand Hotel shimmered like frozen stars, catching on the sequined gowns and diamond smiles of the city's most powerful. Elena Romano didn't belong here. She could feel it in the way people's eyes slid over her, curious, assessing, dismissive. She clutched the silver tray tighter, pretending her trembling hand was steady. One wrong move, one spilled glass of champagne, and she'd lose her job. She didn't see the men enter, but she felt them, the shift in the air, the heavy silence that followed. Black suits, black eyes, and that quiet arrogance that came with knowing everyone feared you. The Moretti Syndicate. The most dangerous family in the city. Her stomach turned cold. Elena tried to focus on her path between tables, but her eyes snagged on one man. Tall, broad shoulders under a perfectly tailored suit, expression unreadable. His presence commanded the room without a word. Vincenzo Moretti. The name itself was enough to silence conversations. He looked up once, and in that single moment, she forgot how to breathe. His gaze was sharp, curious, like he'd seen her somewhere before, or like he was deciding whether she was a threat. Elena looked away quickly, heart pounding so hard it made her chest ache. She didn't notice the other man until the tray nearly slipped from her hand. A drunk guest had grabbed her wrist, leering, slurring something she didn't catch. She tried to pull away, but his grip tightened. "Let go of me," she whispered. The man's laugh was wet and cruel. "You think you can talk to me like that, sweetheart? You're just..." The words died in his throat. His face went pale. Because someone had appeared behind her. The entire ballroom seemed to still. Vincenzo Moretti stood there, calm but deadly. His voice was low, smooth, a warning wrapped in silk. "Is there a problem here?" The drunk stammered something incoherent, releasing her at once. Vincenzo's gaze flicked to her hand, still trembling, then back to the man. "Apologize." The man did. Quickly. Then he was gone, vanishing into the crowd like smoke. Elena muttered a shaky thank you and backed away, avoiding Vincenzo's eyes. She needed to leave, to breathe. She ducked out into the hallway, clutching her chest. And that was when she saw it. A man in a grey suit, blood on his cuff, slipping through a side door. Another followed, whispering something about the package being delivered. Her breath caught. They were carrying a gun. She could see the glint of it under the coat. Panic surged. They'd killed someone, here, in the hotel. She needed to tell someone, anyone. But they saw her. Their eyes locked. One of them hissed, "She saw us." Elena ran. Her heels skidded on marble as she darted through corridors, heart slamming against her ribs. She could hear footsteps behind her. Closer, louder. She burst back into the ballroom, desperate for safety, for witnesses. The crowd was laughing, oblivious. She didn't think. She just acted. She sprinted toward the nearest group of powerful men, and found herself colliding into Vincenzo Moretti. Strong arms caught her before she fell. His scent, expensive whiskey and danger, hit her like a drug. Her pulse went wild. Everyone was watching. And before she could stop herself, the words fell from her lips, the only lie that could save her life. "Fiancée," she gasped. "Vincenzo, they were following me." The room went silent. Every head turned. Every whisper stopped. Vincenzo looked down at her, one dark brow arching in amusement. For a long moment he said nothing, just studied her face, the panic in her eyes, the tremor in her voice. Then, to everyone's shock, his hand came up and rested lightly on her waist. "Is that so?" he murmured. The crowd erupted. Soft laughter, clinking glasses, murmured congratulations. Someone even called out, "Didn't know you were engaged, Moretti." Vincenzo's lips curved into the faintest smirk. He didn't correct them. He leaned close enough that his breath brushed her ear. "Careful, Bella Buggiarda. You just made a very dangerous claim." She swallowed hard. "They're going to kill me," she whispered back. His expression didn't change, but something dark flickered in his eyes. He glanced past her shoulder, and sure enough, 2 men were standing near the door, scanning the room. He tightened his arm around her. "Smile," he ordered softly. She obeyed. To anyone watching, they looked like lovers, the ruthless Mafia boss and his nervous fiancée, basking in the glow of attention. But under the surface, a storm brewed. After a few tense minutes, he guided her out of the ballroom, down the hall, into a quieter corridor. The mask dropped. "What game are you playing?" His voice was low, dangerous. "I'm not," she tried to explain, but his hand shot up, silencing her. "You think using my name will save you?" he asked, stepping closer. "Do you know what happens to people who lie to me?" Her voice trembled. "I wasn't lying. I saw something. 2 men. They had blood on them. They were coming after me. Please." Something in her tone, raw, terrified, made him pause. He studied her face again. There was no guile there, no manipulation. Just fear. "Who were they?" he demanded. "I don't know," she whispered. "But they're still here." He didn't speak for a moment. Then, without warning, he grabbed her wrist. "You're coming with me." "Where?" "Somewhere they won't find you." The drive was silent. His car, a black Maserati, purred through the night streets. She sat in the passenger seat, fingers clutching her dress, heart still hammering. She could feel his gaze occasionally flicking toward her, unreadable. Finally, she broke the silence. "Why are you helping me?" He didn't look at her. "I haven't decided if I am." Her throat tightened. "Then why?" "Because you made me curious," he said simply. The mansion was vast, intimidating. Guards stood at the gates. When they entered, a man in a dark shirt appeared. Luca, Vincenzo's right hand. He frowned at Elena. "Who's this?" Vincenzo's tone was cold and deliberate. "My fiancé." Elena froze. Luca's eyes widened slightly, but he said nothing, only nodded and left. Vincenzo turned to her, his expression unreadable. "You started this lie, Bella. Now we see where it leads." She wanted to protest, but before she could speak, he stepped closer, voice lowering. "You wanted my protection. That comes with a price." Her breath caught. "What price?" He smirked. "Obedience. Truth. And the understanding that I don't play games." Elena stared up at him, fear and fascination warring in her eyes. There was something dangerous about him. Not just the violence, but the control, the way he could command silence with a glance. He leaned in, his voice a whisper. "You lied to save your life, Elena. But now your life belongs to me." That night, she couldn't sleep. The mansion was too quiet, the weight of what she'd done too heavy. Every shadow felt alive, every creak in the hallway made her flinch. She thought of running, but when she peered out her window, she saw guards everywhere. Trapped. And yet, beneath the fear, something else stirred. Every time she remembered his eyes on her, cold but protective, her chest tightened in a way she didn't understand. Down the hall, Vincenzo stood in his office, looking out over the city. Luca entered quietly. You don't believe her, do you? Vincenzo's jaw tightened. I believe she saw something. And the fiancé act. A pause. Then a slow, dangerous smile. Let them believe it. Luca frowned. Why? Because whoever came after her will come again. And when they do, they'll think she's mine. Which means I get to decide how the story ends. He turned back to the window, his reflection cold and calculating. Besides, he murmured almost to himself, there's something about her I can't quite figure out. Outside, the wind howled. Somewhere in the dark, two men made a phone call. Their voices low, their message simple. She's with Moretti now. And for Elena Romano, the lie that saved her life had just bound her to the devil himself. The morning light came too bright, slicing through the silk curtains like a knife. For a second, Elena forgot where she was. Then the scent of expensive cologne clinging to the air reminded her. This wasn't her tiny apartment on Via Santo. This was his world, quiet, guarded, and impossible to escape. She sat up on the edge of the bed, the silk sheets cold against her skin. Her reflection in the tall mirror looked like a stranger. Pale face, tired eyes, hair still tangled from the chaos of the night before. The girl who'd once poured coffee for students now lived under the roof of the man newspapers called the Devil of Naples. A soft knock came at the door. Miss Romano, said a woman in a neat black dress, carrying a breakfast tray. Mr. Moretti asked me to bring this. He's waiting in the east veranda when you're ready. Elena hesitated. Is he angry? The maid's face gave nothing away. Mr. Moretti is never angry, miss. He simply decides. The words made her chest tighten. She dressed quickly, a white silk blouse and black pencil skirt left on a chair, her size, somehow waiting. Every detail in this place already knew her. That scared her more than the guards at the gates. The veranda overlooked the sea, sunlight glinting off calm waves. Vincenzo sat there in a crisp white shirt, sleeves rolled to his forearms, reading the morning paper as if the world bowed to him. He didn't look up when she stepped closer. You sleep. Barely. Good. He folded the paper. It means you're smart enough to be afraid. Her fingers clenched around the coffee cup she didn't remember picking up. Are you going to keep me here? I'm protecting you, he said simply. The men who saw you last night work for someone who's been trying to break me. If they think you're mine, they won't touch you, at least not yet. At least not yet, she repeated. He finally met her eyes. Every shield has a cost, Elena. The longer you stay under mine, the more the bullets will aim our way. A chill rippled through her. You could let me go, she said quietly. I could, he agreed, standing. The sunlight caught the faint scar at his jaw. But I won't. Not until I know who sent those men, and why they thought you mattered. I don't matter, she insisted. He stepped closer, close enough that she could feel the heat of him. You said that last night, and yet here you are, breathing because you lied to me. His voice lowered. Lies have weight, Cora. You can't throw one and hope it floats. Elena's heart kicked painfully. So what happens now? He studied her for a long moment. Now, you learn how to survive beside the devil. Days blurred into each other inside the mansion. Guards rotated at every hallway. Doors that looked harmless were locked. When she tried one out of curiosity, Luca's cold voice had echoed from behind her. Best not to wander, Miss Romano. Curiosity kills faster than bullets here. She spent mornings in the library, pretending to read. Afternoons, she'd find herself staring through the glass at the courtyard, watching Vincenzo discuss things she didn't understand with men in suits who never smiled. But sometimes, she'd catch him looking at her. Never long, just enough to make her chest twist. He'd ask small questions. Do you always bite your lip when you lie? Who taught you to run like that? Why does fear look good on you? Each one landed like a touch. She wanted to hate him. She needed to. But every time he came near, the air seemed to burn. One evening, thunder rolled over the sea. Power flickered. Elena stood by her window, watching lightning fracture the sky. The door opened behind her. She turned. Vincenzo. No suit tonight, just black slacks and a shirt undone at the collar. He looked human almost. You shouldn't be near windows during storms, he said. Old houses attract bad luck. Do you believe in luck? I believe in control, he said, walking closer. Luck is for people who don't have power. He stopped a foot away. The stormlight flashed between them. You're trembling. I'm cold. He reached out, brushed a strand of hair from her face. You're lying again. Her breath caught. You always think I'm lying. I know you are, he murmured. Because no one looks at me that way unless they want something. What if I want to leave? Then you shouldn't look at me like that. The silence stretched, charged, dangerous. Then a shout echoed down the hall. Vincenzo's hand dropped. In an instant, the softness vanished. The boss returned. Stay here. She nodded, but as soon as he left, her instincts screamed. She slipped after him, down the corridor toward the noise. Voices. Men arguing. The heavy door to his office was ajar. Inside, Luca threw a folder on the desk. It's her, Vin. Someone paid those men to find her. Not you. Vincenzo's voice was low and cold. Who? Still tracing it. But whoever it is knows she's here. A pause. Then softly. Then she isn't just a witness. Elena stepped back. Heartbeat wild. The floor creaked. Both men turned. Elena, Vincenzo said quietly. She bolted. The hallway stretched forever. Her bare feet hit the marble like drumbeats. She didn't look back. Not until a hand caught her arm, spun her around, and slammed her gently but firmly against the wall. Stop. Let me go. Running into the dark won't save you. His grip loosened just enough for her to breathe. You think I'll hurt you? I don't know what you'll do. He leaned close, voice a low growl. You're not a hostage. But if someone's hunting you, I need to know why. I told you everything I know. Then why are there photos of you on my enemy's desk? The words punched the air out of her lungs. Photos. From weeks ago. Before last night. She shook her head. That's impossible. I don't even know who they are. His eyes searched hers, dark and unreadable. Then someone else does. And until I find them, you don't leave my sight. I can't live like this. He exhaled, long and slow. You already are. For a heartbeat, the world went silent. Just rain against the glass, thunder far away, and two people locked between truth and fear. Then he released her arm and stepped back. Tomorrow, he said, we start finding out who wants you dead. That night, sleep wouldn't come. Elena sat by the window, watching lightning dance across the sea. Below, guards moved like shadows. Somewhere in the house, a piano began to play. Soft, melancholy. Vincenzo's playing. Each note was precise, deliberate, and yet it bled something human. Regret, maybe. She closed her eyes and listened. But outside, beyond the gates, headlights appeared, a black car idling without lights. Inside, a man spoke into a phone. "She's still with him," he said. "Tell the boss. We move tomorrow." When morning came, the sea was calm again. Elena woke to find a single black rose on her nightstand. No note. Just the flower. A silent message. Downstairs, Vincenzo waited, coffee steaming beside him. "Get dressed," he said. "We're going for a drive." "Where?" "To find answers." He looked up, and for the first time, she saw something flicker behind his eyes, something like doubt. "Because, Elena," he set down the cup, his voice barely above a whisper, "I think someone's using you to destroy me." The drive was silent except for the hum of the engine and the occasional whisper of tires against wet asphalt. The morning sky was a wash of dull gray, the kind that made the city look like it was holding its breath. Elena sat in the passenger seat, fingers laced together in her lap. The black rose still haunted her. Its scent clung to her hands, cold and bitter. Every time she looked at Vincenzo, she felt a war inside her. Fear on one side, something heavier on the other. He was focused on the road, jaw set, eyes unreadable. The world outside blurred, high walls, narrow alleys, graffiti, a church bell tolling somewhere distant. Finally, she broke the silence. "Where are we going?" "To the docks," he said. "My men found one of the shooters from that night." Elena turned toward him sharply. "Alive. For now." The tone of his voice sent a shiver down her spine. The warehouse was old, its iron beams groaning in the sea wind. Two guards opened the gate when Vincenzo's car pulled in. Inside, Luca waited, a cigarette burning between his fingers. "He's talking," Luca said, flicking the ash away. "But he's scared out of his mind." Vincenzo glanced at Elena. "Stay close." Her stomach twisted. "You're not going to kill him?" His lips curved faintly. "Only if he stops being useful." They entered a room with a single hanging light. A man sat tied to a chair, face bruised, eyes darting. When he saw Vincenzo, he flinched so hard the chair legs scraped the concrete. "Please," the man gasped. "I didn't know she was." Vincenzo's tone was calm but lethal. "Finish that sentence." The man swallowed. "I didn't know she was yours. We were told to find the girl. Bring her alive." "Who gave the order?" A pause. Then, "Someone named." A shot cracked. The man slumped forward, blood blooming across his shirt. Elena screamed. Vincenzo turned, gun already drawn, scanning the shadows. The shot hadn't come from him. It came from the upper walkway. By the time Luca fired back, the shooter was gone. "Get her out," Vincenzo barked. Luca grabbed Elena's arm, dragging her behind a stack of crates as another bullet shattered the light above them. Sparks fell like angry stars. "Who are they?" she cried. Vincenzo crouched beside her, voice low but steady. "Someone who doesn't want you to talk." He fired twice toward the rafters, then pulled her up. "Move." They sprinted through the narrow hall as more shots echoed. When they burst into the sunlight, a black SUV screeched around the corner, tires spitting gravel. One of Vincenzo's guards stepped forward and was hit instantly. Elena's heart pounded in her throat. Vincenzo shoved her toward the car. "Get in." She did. The moment her door slammed shut, he gunned the engine. The SUV followed. Bullets tore into the street behind them. Glass shattered. Elena ducked instinctively, but Vincenzo didn't flinch, eyes fixed, hands steady. "Seatbelt," he ordered. Her fingers fumbled. "Now." She clicked it just as he spun the car into a side alley. The SUV roared past, tires screaming. He reversed sharply, cutting down another street, disappearing into the maze of back roads. Only when the sound of pursuit faded did he ease off the gas. His knuckles were white around the steering wheel. Elena turned to him, voice shaking. "They killed him." He was about to say a name. "I heard," Vincenzo said. "Which means we were supposed to." She frowned. "What do you mean?" He glanced at her, eyes dark. "That wasn't an ambush. It was a message." They drove to a safe house outside the city, a modern, cold structure on the edge of the cliffs. Once inside, Vincenzo gave quick orders to Luca and the guards. Then he turned to her. "You shouldn't have come today." "I didn't have a choice," she snapped. "You told me to." He moved closer, voice low. "And you obeyed, like someone who wants to prove she belongs here." Her anger flared. He caught her wrist, not hard, but enough to make her breath hitch. "You think I don't see it? The fear, the curiosity. You don't know if you hate me or if you're waiting to see what I'll do next." Her pulse raced. "You're imagining things." His gaze locked on hers, steady, dangerous. "No, I'm reading them." Then he released her, turning away as if the conversation had already ended. Hours later, the storm returned. Thunder rolled over the cliffs, and the wind howled through the shutters. Elena sat on the edge of the sofa, staring at the fire that Vincenzo had lit but hadn't touched since. Luca came in, looking grim. "We traced the weapon. Russian origin. Same group that's been funding the Casaro family's move into Naples." Vincenzo's expression hardened. "Casaro?" Elena blinked. "Who are they?" "A rival syndicate," Luca said. "They've been bleeding the ports dry for months. But they don't usually waste bullets on witnesses." "Unless," Vincenzo said slowly, "the witness isn't random." He looked at Elena again. Really looked. "What are you not telling me?" "Nothing," she said quickly. "I swear I don't know." He slammed his hand down on the table, the sound cracking through the room. "Don't lie to me." The firelight threw sharp shadows across his face. He wasn't shouting, not really, but his fury was a living thing, coiled under the surface. Elena's voice trembled. "I'm not lying. I don't even know why they want me." He stepped closer until the space between them vanished. "Then maybe it's time you find out." Her breath caught. "How?" "You said you worked at that hotel, yes? Maybe someone there wanted you gone. Maybe you saw something before that night. Think. Elena. Who would pay to have you taken alive?" She shook her head helplessly. "I don't know." He leaned in, his tone quieter but sharper. "Then remember." For a long moment, she could only stare at him, his eyes burning, his voice low enough to be a threat or a promise. Then, slowly, something surfaced in her memory. "There was a man," she whispered. "He came to the cafe a week ago. He said he was a journalist asking about the hotel's owner. He kept pressing for information about a shipment, something about containers and records. I didn't understand. He left angry when I said I didn't know anything." Vincenzo froze. "A journalist?" She nodded. "Yes." He exchanged a look with Luca. "Casaro has been moving weapons through the port. If that reporter was close to finding out, then they silenced him," Luca said grimly. "And now they think she has whatever he was looking for." Elena's blood went cold. But I don't. Vincenzo turned to her, eyes glinting. You might without knowing it. Did he leave anything behind? Her pulse skipped. His card. I threw it out. Where? My apartment. Vincenzo's voice was immediate. We go tonight. By midnight, they were back in the city, moving like ghosts through the rain-slick streets. Her apartment building loomed ahead. Old, quiet, dark. Luca stayed outside with the car while Vincenzo followed her in. The hallway smelled of damp paint. Elena's shoes squeaked softly on the floor. She reached for her door and froze. The lock was broken. Vincenzo pushed her gently aside and drew his gun. He nudged the door open with his foot. The place was wrecked, drawers pulled out, papers everywhere, glass shattered across the floor. Whoever came here had been searching for something. Elena's heart raced. They were here. Vincenzo nodded slowly, scanning the room. Recently. He stepped toward the window, checking the corners, then stopped. Elena. What? Is this yours? He held up a small flash drive, black, smudged, hidden beneath a pile of envelopes. She shook her head. No. He pocketed it. Then it's what they wanted. They turned to leave, and the floor creaked behind them. Vincenzo spun, gun raised. But the sound wasn't from behind them. It was above. The ceiling vent rattled. Then a man dropped down, masked, landing between them. He swung a knife at Vincenzo, fast, brutal. Vincenzo dodged, slamming the attacker into the wall. The knife clattered away. Elena stumbled back as the two men struggled. Grunts, glass breaking, the sharp sound of a punch connecting. The masked man shoved free, reaching for his gun. Without thinking, Elena grabbed a broken bottle from the counter and swung. It caught his arm. He hissed in pain, dropped the gun, and Vincenzo drove him into the floor with a single blow. Blood pooled slowly under the man's sleeve. Vincenzo pulled the mask off, and froze. The face beneath was young. Too young. Barely 20. Luca burst through the door, gun raised. Boss. Vincenzo's voice was low. He's Casoro's recruit. Fresh. They sent him to die. Elena's hands shook. Why? Vincenzo stared at the flash drive. Because whatever's on this is worth killing for. He looked at her, not with anger this time, but something worse. Resolve. You're not leaving my sight again, he said quietly. Whoever started this used you to get to me. She opened her mouth to speak, but before she could, headlights flared outside, too many. Luca swore. We've been followed. Vincenzo grabbed her hand, pulling her toward the back door. Move. The first gunshot shattered the window. As they ran through the alley, Elena heard the screech of tires, the roar of engines closing in, and Vincenzo's words echoing through the storm. This was never about saving you. They wanted a war. And in that moment, as bullets lit up the night, Elena finally realized the devil's protection had always come with a price.